I'd like to call the July 16th, 2024 Village Board meeting to order. Mr. White, will you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Tracy.
President Cohen?
Here.
Trustee Michaels?
Here.
Trustee White?
Here.
Trustee Lundy.
Here.
Trustee Herron? Trustee Bonnie?
Here.
Trustee Shomas?
Here.
We do have a quorum this evening. Nothing under public hearing and nothing under appointments and presentations. Airport report.
No report. There's not been a meeting.
Okay, thank you, Tony. We have public comment on items scheduled for action. Under consent agenda this evening, we have A, approval of the minutes of the June 18th, 2024 board meeting, B, approval of the vouchers, C, approval of the 2024 treasurer's report, D, a resolution approving Settlers Ridge Unit 1A plat of re-subdivision. Under general business this evening, under item A, approval, addition of a deputy village clerk to the administration department. B, resolution amending the number of liquor licenses per class, the Sugar Grove Firefighters Association temporary liquor license for the Corn Boil. Any public comment on action items this evening? First up.
We have some folks that signed up, and I didn't know if any of them were for action items. Tonight, there's not, I'm sorry, nobody put a...
No. Does anybody want to speak to those, any of those items? Consent or general business? No public comment at this time for those items? Okay. Going once? Going twice? We will close that public comment. Any request to remove an item from consent agenda? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as previously stated?
As stated.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a first out of trustee Shomas, a second out of trustee White. Roll call, please.
Trustee Shomas?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries. Up next, general business, item A, the approval for the additional deputy village clerk to admin. Is that you or is that Matt? Scott?
That's good. Thank you. So as discussed at the last meeting, the last village board meeting, there is a need from staffs requesting to look at having a deputy village clerk assistant for the department, and it would be looking to hire a part-time person, about 25 hours per week. There was some requests at the last meeting to have more information about potential salary and also how it would be funded. One of the issues with the funding was that, as was mentioned last meeting, and Matt can go into more detail about it, but the grocery tax, at the time of the budget approval, we thought that it was going to be eliminated. Turns out that it would be good through 2026. So there is funding that was unexpected that is left in the budget. The position will be split between the general fund and the water fund, as the position does help out with the water and helps out with the front desk when staffing is lower. We do have other part-time employees at Village Hall. So the main duties would be backing up the village clerk, handling the FOIAs, which we've again had a very high influx of FOIAs, as well as reviews from the public access counselor at the Attorney General's office. Both of those things take a tremendous amount of staff time. So that would be the main duties. We've also attached to in the packet, we've got a job description and the wage and salary table that is approved by the village board. So we're looking for permission to post the position, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Any questions for staff?
I called or emailed Scott and like to keep this position under 1,000 hours to limit the benefits that we pay. Part-time employee, I think that's one of the benefits of having part-time employees is not paying a lot of employee benefits. So I would move that we approve, or I'd like to see the position changed to work 1,000 hours or less a year.
Is that even feasible, Scott? I mean, can you cover the job and do what you need to do with that?
We can certainly cover it for, we don't have it right now, so any hours that would be added would be helpful. The cost on IMRF, that would make the person IMRF eligible, is, I believe, this year's number is 2.5%, Matt. It's going to go up a little bit next year.
3.8,
3.8.
and then it goes up to a little over 6.
And that's the threshold, 1,000 hours?
1,000 is that's the most hours that any IMRF employee can work.
I think they have to work 1,000 hours, then they qualify.
Right, yeah, so 1,000 hours is that threshold. If they work over that, then they're considered IMRF, and it roughly comes out to about 19 hours a week.
Okay.
So about a 6-hour difference from what is being presented.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion?
So what would be the difference? I'm sorry.
So it's, the average over a year is about 19 hours a week, and what's being proposed is 25 hours a week. But the difference in cost is obviously the 6 hours, but also 3.82% this year is the
Okay.
IMRF contribution cost.
Matt, can you run a quick number for us and take that into consideration, what you would pull out if it were 1,000 hours?
Was the last deputy village clerk maxed at 1,000 hours?
The last one was not. They are included, that's actually our utility billing.
Mhm.
They initially were under it, and then they moved up. But they were initially hired only at 10 hours. So in total, roughly about 14,000 on a full year basis.
14 what?
14,000 on a full year basis. But this actual fiscal year is, we're gonna lose roughly 3 months.
Okay.
So the job grade description is as noted on the top of page 9.
Yes, part-time office assistant, top of page 8. I think it's labeled 8 in mine.
Oh, part-time office assistant, not part-time village clerk.
So it's the job title, but when we're looking at position for salary, that's the classification.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure if we had a different hourly wage for those. Okay. All right, that's it.
Matt, let me just clarify, the 1,000 hours is hitting the IMRF contribution. Did you say, I thought I heard 3.8, Bernie's telling me 3.4. What was the percent?
3.8.
3.8. So that 3.8% is doing the math on the 42,000? Is that the?
No, that's 42,000 all
All in,
Yeah.
but what is the 3.8 on the hours of 1,000 hours? Like, what is the difference? I know this is, because this is gonna have time on the 42,000, but what is the actual 3.8 when you go over the 1,000? If you do fulfill this the way it's written, what is the IMRF contribution that the village is obligated to at that point?
About $1,400.
Okay. So this is really, the way this is proposed to the village board, my understanding is really, yes, it triggers that $1,400 additional in IMRF funds, but it's really about the hours that are baked in here to do the job.
Right, yeah, that's the additional cost.
Okay,
Yeah. Because you're still paying the 999 hours, so.
okay. So I guess I go back to trustee Michael. So it's really, your concern is not just the IMRF, it's the hours baked into this.
Yep, both.
Okay. And I guess my point is, I'm not running admin or finance, our staff is, and if our staff is recommending that they need hours covered, I'm not sure that we're ones to dispute whether that is a necessary part of the job or not. So if anybody else wants to, he knows what he needs in his department. We know what we had in that department before. We had a deputy clerk. I just don't, I'm not gonna argue with you about whether or not the hours are sufficient or not. I think that.
We're backfilling a relatively recently departed position.
Correct.
But
Okay.
But it's, go ahead.
if I can clarify, it was eliminated at budget time because before we had, Allison was part-time and then we, as the village clerk, and then we had another part-time person in the office. When we moved to the full-time person, we had combined the two part-time positions together.
Okay.
We're just seeing a higher volume of work than we
Sure.
had previously.
Okay.
And that was why we came back to ask.
No further questions.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions at this time for staff? Thank you, Scott. Okay. Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve item A, the addition of the deputy village clerk to the administration department?
As stated.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
First on trustee Showman, second on trustee Bonnie. Roll call, please.
Trustee Shomis?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
No.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Herron? Oh,
Yep, it's all right. Motion passes 4-1. Thank you. Up next, item B, resolution amending a number of liquor license per class for the Sugar Grove Firefighters Association. Is this Tracy?
Yep.
Thank you.
This would amend the number of liquor licenses for the temporary licenses for the village to include the Sugar Grove Firefighters Association temporary license for the corn boil.
This is a annual renewal for them. This obviously represents the fact that they do not hold a liquor license in town, so their fee is appropriate per village code for their temporary. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. Can I get a motion to approve item B under general business as previously stated?
As stated.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a first on trustee Shomas and I believe a second on trustee Michaels. Roll call, please.
Trustee Shomis?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Thank you, motion passes. Up next, public comment on any and all items this evening.
Question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We approve the number, do we also have to approve the license?
Yes?
Is that,
We can ratify that, though. I know I can sign a liquor license. We usually do. We usually approve the number, but we approve the license for the amended number of liquor licenses per class. But the liquor license itself isn't on here.
Oh, sorry about that.
Nope. Does it say both?
Well,
It is.
I would
Bernie?
I defer to Bernie, but it does say amending and then it has a dash and it says, well, it's not two separate items on the agenda. In my opinion, it would be.
I think that that's sufficient to give the public notice of what the discussion and the possible action would be.
I
Okay.
would make a motion to issue the license then?
But
Or do you think we don't need that?
He's saying we don't need to because it's listed on the agenda.
No, you need to make a motion in a second and vote on it, but you
Yes.
didn't need a second agenda item, is what.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I made a motion to issue the license.
I second the motion.
Thank you. A motion to issue the liquor license out of trustee trustee White, and a second out of trustee Lindy.
Okay. Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Lindy?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Trustee Shomis?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries. Okay, thank you. Public comment for any and all items at this time. First, we have Carol Green. And you, I'm sure we will put up a clock, so you'll see. 3 minutes. please.
Okay. All right, so I hate going first, because I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna say, except that I was at the meeting last month, and I don't know how many people were in the audience, so I read between 400 and 600 people. And of all the people that spoke, there was one person that was somewhat ambivalent, like, yeah, not sure the TIF is a good idea, but everybody else was pretty much against it. I feel like if you guys really thought this was such a great idea, put it to a referendum and let not only Sugar Grove residents, but Blackberry Township residents where I live are gonna be affected by the traffic and everything else that goes along with it. Because basically, we're being asked to pay for a project that is going to have a very negative effect on our quality of life. We get the privilege to pay for it. That really doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It's, you know, why even have elections when the elected representatives don't really listen to the people? If you drive around, there's plenty of signs that are against the TIF. There are, you know, this family, this business, if they think it's such a great idea, they can pay for it. I really resent having my quality of life negatively impacted. It's like I get the privilege to pay for this. I can barely drive on 47. I've stopped driving to Sugar Grove to do business. Not that we do all that much business, but we would go to Jewel, UPS, the hardware store. I'd rather take my chances on Randall Road because I'm not fighting all the truck traffic on 47. And I heard 47 is going to be expanded, but not down in Blackberry Township. I haven't been able to make a left-hand turn into our subdivision for the last 5 years because of the truck traffic not slowing down, passing me on the shoulder. There's no sheriff protection. Sugar Grove police are out, and I see them stopping people. You're just putting in a project that is going to make life miserable for the rest of us who can't leave. I can't leave this area. I'm stuck. This is not how I expected to spend my golden years. Thank you.
Thank you. Harry?
Yeah, I'm going to be brief. I just got this information early today. I guess I have to go back here. My internet was out, still is out. It's regarding the financials for the new report, Fiscal and Economic Impact Analysis. I haven't really had a chance to scrutinize it or digest it, but some points do stick out. As far as the headlines go, the proposed development is poised to generate a positive net fiscal impact of nearly $51 million to the village of Sugar Grove. From 2023 to 2042, I guess this is an older report they intended to release earlier, I don't know. But that's over 19 years. It equates to about $2.68 million per year, but I believe that comes in at the end of the TIF period. It's not an annual? Okay,
I'll address it at the end.
Yeah, like I said, this is not totally it. But also, I noticed that you definitely got to set $40 million for the expenses that are going to increase and an assumed $50 million excess or net profit from that, but that's all based on assumption of a 2% sales tax increase on a certain amount. It's based on assumptions of income tax and state taxes. They're all assumptions. You really don't know what is going to end up coming in here over that period of time. So I'm just saying that that risk analysis has to be looked at for what is really going to be there. And again, I'll get into this in more detail and I'll be up here again, but just to anybody that's reading it, scrutinize what the periods are, look at the present value, net present value of these dollars, because they're giving them to you in 2023 dollars. So by 2042, you can cut that by 45% based at a 3% inflation rate per year. So there's just some things you have to be careful. If these numbers on their face aren't necessarily going to be the numbers you're going to get. That's all at this point. Like I said, I've got some more work to do, as you do.
Thank you, Perry.
Thank you.
Jaden?
Hey everyone, I just wanted to bring something to your guys' attention. I was recently told and kind of heard through the grapevine that one of you trustees is going to be voting yes on everything Crown, and like I said, this is hearsay, so take it as you will. We'll be voting yes because of actions of Thoughtful Progress or people who associate with Thoughtful Progress. And it has nothing to do with thoughtful progress. It has to do with whether or not the project qualifies for a TIF and all of the other, zoning and annexation, all that stuff. You've been told that by voting yes for the TIF, you're violating state law. It doesn't matter how you feel about thoughtful progress or any other people that might associate with that group. It is wrong and it's against the law, period. And you've been told that more than one time. And then the other thing I wanted to speak about was the fact sheet that was posted on Facebook yesterday by the Village of Sugar Grove. As some of you may or may not know, the village received the application from Crown yesterday. And the village decided to post a fact sheet that was giving all of the positives to the Crown project. Now, that is very concerning to me because as a board, you guys haven't even come up with a consensus of whether or not it's going to favor or be against the village and what the people want. So it's just appalling that you guys would do that. And I say you guys, I don't know who's driving that. So I'm not trying to accuse anybody specifically. You trustees, I don't know who's coming up with this stuff. But it's being passed as a so-called fact sheet of the Crown application, and that's just ridiculous. If it was opinionated and in favor of what Crown was asking for, and it shouldn't be published. It's absurd. It's propaganda, really. It's to try to get people to believe that the project is good. I think as a board, you guys should be discussing this even tonight or at the next meeting. And I even think maybe a straw poll would be good to see how many of you actually support the TIF, because then any of the other stuff wouldn't matter. If you didn't have the votes for the TIF, then the annexation doesn't matter, because Crown said that they won't do the project without a TIF. That's all.
Thank you. Monica Hubble.
Hello, village trustees. Today I address you with deep concern regarding the implications of the annexation agreement for Crown Community Development. This agreement poses significant threats to the residents of our village and to the surrounding communities. The litigation clause in section 12.6 places an undue burden on the village. It obligates the village to join forces with Crown against the public in defense of any lawsuits related to the agreement, annexation, zoning, or development plans. Coupled with section 12.21, which states that the village shall institute condemnation or eminent domain proceedings for land, this is engaging in a blatant attack on threatening people's homes and property. How could you support such a thing? Should a settlement occur, section 12.6.2.2 exposes the village of Sugar Grove to paying the settlement of lawsuits. It states the village shall be responsible and liable to pay such agreed costs, damages, or other monetary award. Why would you ever agree to this financial risk? It is neglect to assume that there would not be lawsuits. Let's examine section 5.3 that states following approval of the planned development district ordinance, no further zoning approval or public hearing shall be required as a prereq to the insurance of building permits or the approval of a final plat of subdivision. This means that once PDD is approved, village residents lose their voice in future decisions. I did not vote for you to lose my voice. By eliminating these hearings, residents are stripped of their ability to influence or contest decisions that may affect their lives, property value, and the character of our community. Furthermore, section 12.3 addresses conflicts with village ordinances, stipulating that no amendment to existing ordinances or enactment, new ones can materially restrict or prohibit the property's development as outlined in the agreement. Your approval gives Crown full control, and all such conflicting ordinance of the village shall be deemed of no force and effect. This is irresponsible because it prioritizes interests of Crown over the community's evolving needs and welfare. I'd like somebody to turn left on the street so she doesn't have to worry about where she has to shop. Granting Crown this much control is unacceptable. It prioritizes developers over community interests and misuses villages' resources. As a long-term resident and taxpayer, this is all shocking. This move undermines democracy, threatens public welfare, it risks financial instability, environmental harm, health hazards, traffic issues, strained services, and loss of community identity. We need to do better than this. We need to be moral. Shifting powers to Crown endangers Sugar Grove and surrounding areas. Silencing our community, I urge village leaders to protect our rights and our future. As a concerned resident, I reject this agreement, and we are relying on you to reject it too. That is why I voted for many of you up here right now. That is why we're in Girl Scouts. That's why we're leaders, Heidi, because we believe in the earth, because we believe in nature, right? This is so important.
Thank you. Lisa Esling. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Bob.
My name's Bob Romani, live over in Willow Creek, been here a bunch of times already. I'm just gonna stick with traffic more or less today, unless anybody went across 47 today and saw the flooding at the creek. There wasn't any flooding with all the rain we've had, so anyway. I have two chunks of property, one's right on Route 47. I've got 500 feet just before you get to the new stoplight down at Main Street. And I also have a lot in Willow Creek that is one lot off of 47. I've lived out here for 37 years and seen the traffic grow and grow and grow. When they did the intersection down at Main Street, I've got all their drawings and all their paperwork from it. I do engineering, so I know how to read these things. So their traffic study was done in 2010 for that interchange. Okay, so at that time, for 2010, the average daily traffic on Route 47 was 8,200 cars. Their projected traffic in 2040 is 15,000 cars. We're almost to that right now without even Crown doing anything. All right, and then Main Street was at 3,700 in 2010, and right now is at for 2040 is designed for 7,000. The study that Rod Feast gave you at the last meeting that was done by H.R. Green has CV Road currently at 130 cars. Projected for 2039, 20,000 cars. And that's for both directions, east and west, with the gas station there, people turning that direction or going east. So, and that doesn't include a 2% increase for additional Grove traffic. So somewhere numbers are way out of skew, or Route 47 is not going to be able to handle any of this traffic that's coming. I mean, seriously, I can't get in and out of my old rental house with almost getting run down every time I try to turn left into their driveway. The school buses that stop to drop the kids off at the house literally have to honk at the cars all the time to blow right by them. I almost got hit last week, turning in, car behind me, I saw him, when I pull off of Willow Creek and I go down the hill, I've got to make sure I don't see any headlights coming from the south at all. If they show up, I've got to speed up and put my blinker on way ahead of time. The car behind me, he came flying over the hill, he came up behind me, full speed, went to go around me. Guy behind him was a van. He went and followed him. The guy behind the van didn't see me. He almost got me. And it happens repeatedly. I mean, people Tall Oak have the same exact issue trying to get out. The guy with the silver pickup truck lives in there. He got the whole back end of his pickup truck put in and all his equipment in it, all over 47 last summer. So,
Thank you, Bob.
thanks.
Lisa Esling.
Hello. I'd like to address a statement from the minutes of the last board meeting. Quote, President Conan addressed the accusation that she had said that Blackberry Township would not benefit and stressed that what she said was taken out of context. She explained that the residents of Blackberry Township said that they don't want additional property taxes, businesses, or development. President Conan noted that they would not patronize an industrial building and that there is no benefit to them with an industrial building. She heard this mentioned many times and wanted to clarify what she said. End of quotes. If you'll remember, I'm the one who originally asked that question at the Blackberry meeting, and your clarification is not accurate. First, so I'm going to go through what we actually did. I pointed out to the big map on the wall and said that Crown owns the northeast, southeast, and southwest corners of the intersection of CV and 47, and that my husband and I own and live at the remaining southwest corner. We're as close as any property owner could be to this development. Looking out the front and south sides of our house, we will be greeted with warehouses and a truck stop instead of the existing farm fields. Then I said, quote, "What actual benefit will there be to our property? The homes in Red Oaks to the west of us, those in Nottingham Woods and Willow to the north of us, the homes north along 47, and the homes on both sides of Green Road, basically all of the adjacent property owners." Your response to that was nothing. Those in attendance at the meeting groaned when you said this, and I said, "Really? Are you okay with, and you're okay with that?" That was the full extent of the question and answer. None of the rest of the stuff in your paragraph here was any part of my question. Your clarification, I was asking a simple question of how we adjacent owners, not everybody in Blackberry Township, how we adjacent property owners were to benefit, since the narrative from both Crown and the Village of Sugar Grove said that the development would benefit the entire community. And, you know, and then we in Blackberry have not said that we don't want development of any kind. Jen, this is just way off of what our little question was for you to have all this other stuff in there, and that was not truthful. The second point is addressing the standards for rezoning in Sugar Grove. And the first one is, will this rezoning change or promote the public health? And my answer is no. Air quality and a threat to our wells is the opposite of promoting public health. Will it promote safety? No. Traffic on the roads that we and our youth use driving to school will be dramatically less safe with 1,000 truck trips a day. Comfort? No. Any reasonable person can see.
Thank you. Dale?
My name is Dale Essling, and I will continue. Is the trend of development in the area consistent with this request? No, there are no warehouses, no data centers, no truck stops in the area. There are productive farms, farmsteads, rural homes, and natural areas. Number 3, standard. How are permitted uses allowed by the rezoning more suitable for the property than permitted uses allowed by the current zoning designation? The rezoning is not suitable. This land is some of the most productive farmland in Illinois, so its use is to continue having a farm. Current zoning is E1, estates on 1 acre. This property can be developed as it is without a TIF if the existing zoning is respected. The state home on well and septic would not require the infrastructure that the proposed warehouses would, and would be a better fit for the community in the vicinity. Question number 4 of the zoning standards. Will this rezoning alter the character of the neighborhood or be detrimental to adjacent property? This is a resounding yes. It will be detrimental for all the reasons already mentioned, and because as a 30-year-plus resident of our property on that northwest corner of CV and 47, I know that what we have, and I know that this is what this terrible plan will bring. Any reasonable person will agree that this is detrimental to the value of our homes, our right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and the free use of our property. It will also dramatically change the character of the area. It's dark at night, we can see the stars. We won't with a 24-hour truck stop and 24-hour warehouse lighting and security. It is quiet enough to hear the coyotes howl, owls hoot, bullfrogs croak, and crickets chirp. This won't be anymore with warehouse traffic. All the people who walk their dogs in the evening down CV Road will not be able to do so safely. According to this document, this one right here, you all thought that the interchange would change the character of the area. Well, it hasn't. Is there more traffic? Yes. But the character itself hasn't changed. Now, I would like to read something kind of tailed up what Jaden said. This is from an appellate court case. It says, no issue in this case involves whether the proposed mall or any other redevelopment project is wise or unwise, popular or unpopular, desirable or undesirable. The underlying issue in this case is whether or not the defendant city has followed the statutes and applicable laws with respect to the issues before this court. If you all had been told any of this, you might be able to dodge around and say, well, we didn't know. SB Friedman gave us a report and we trusted them. You've all been told this TIF does not, the land doesn't qualify for a TIF. It's your due diligence to look it up, to go do some research on your own. If I can find the information, y'all can find the information. Y'all took an oath of office to abide by the law. I suggest you do it.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time?
Hi, my name's Rick Boyle. There's no flooding.
Thank you, Rick. Any other public comments at this time? Going once? Going twice? We will close public comment. We don't have anything under discussion this evening. Staff reports. We just get mine, so I have them in order. Scott.
Thank you. My report is in your packet. I also wanted to thank our Public Works team and police last night. Public Works was in late getting the streets reopened and then worked in through today to do a cleanup. Brad's not here today, but I wanted to do a little bit of an update. I asked him to do that. He was up late last night as well. So all village roads are open, including Cadiga, which took quite a bit of cleanup. We went out and helped the township on part of that. I got that reopened. ComEd has restored power to all known Sugar residents that are having issues. Our crews completed cleanup on Meadows Drive and Merrill New today. They started on Queens Gate and Bastion Drive. So they will be continue cleaning throughout the week. They'll have 2 more crews back out there tomorrow. So again, big thanks to them. Also wanted to thank the Village of Montgomery. They were kind enough to contact us last night when they saw how bad the weather was and volunteer a couple of their employees and a chipper to come up and assist the village. So great teamwork with the neighboring village. Big kudos to Montgomery for doing that. They didn't have to, and it was a big help for us and allowed us to get a lot of our residents and the roads cleaned up quicker, especially with Corn Boil right around the corner. And one of the areas that was hit the worst is right next to the Corn Boil. So we're doing our best to get it in as good a shape as possible for that. So I wanted to thank everybody for the hard work on it. And happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Scott?
Did you open up an emergency center last night with the tornado?
Chief, did we open EOC?
We did not. What did you, in retrospect, do you think one was needed, or?
No, it was manageable from the positions that we were at on the street and in the building. So it was timing of the incident took place. Majority of the public was off the roadway already.
Yeah.
So I think that was also one of the major contributing factors for not having opened it up. And then we were in communication with myself with Public Works and Public Works crew, and then like to echo to the health staff over with till later in the evening until we got enough good coverage to make sure that they were going to be safe for the rest of the evening.
Any additional questions? Thank you, Scott. Matt?
Nothing additional.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Matt? Okay. Hearing none. Thank you. Danny? Any questions for Danny? Okay. Hearing none. Chief?
Just want to contribute a little bit more on there. Also, the King County Emergency Operations Center was in full force. So I was in contact with them as well last night, and then again this morning with damage assessment. So we had a number of resources that came to Sugar Grove and we're grateful for from OEM to help us with traffic control with a lot of downlines and poles. So helped free up some of our resources, and they were out there for probably 5-6 hours.
Yeah, I was there for 6 hours.
6 hours out there. We had some high primary lines that were down across Wayne Road, still active, just waiting on response from ComEd for the sake of we closed it off. So, and also saw our friends across the street with their doors open, and a couple of calls went on. So, you know, we were very fortunate with what took place with the amount of really cosmetic damage. It's still extreme damage to people's homes, but it was more for siding, roofing, and obviously the tree damage. So I just wanted to follow up here. The county EOC was operational since it was a lights path of direction that it was going across the entire county as well. So, been happy to answer any other questions.
Thanks, Chief. Brad's report is in there, obviously, and updates, and Scott provided a recent update. If you have any questions for Brad, please follow up with Brad. Michael?
Nothing to add beyond my written report.
Thank you, Michael. Is there any questions for Michael? Okay, very good. Go into trustee reports. Trustee Michaels.
I attended Groovin in the Grove last Thursday. It was well attended. I'd encourage the village to, work with the other groups that are supporting Groovin in the Grove and post information sooner than that afternoon. I don't think we have to do our own flyers, but it would have been nice to have information on a little more ahead of time than it was last Thursday. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you. Trustee White.
Nothing.
Thank you. Trustee Lundy.
First, I want to say thank you to our emergency services. I was driving out in that weather, so I saw the work that you guys did and immediately taking care of the down lines and the trees, and Public Works did great. You guys were awesome, and I wanted to thank you guys for that. Library had a wonderful thing. I think it was earlier this week. I think it was on the 12th.
Last Friday.
It was on, what is it?
Last Friday.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday because they were celebrating the Friday
yeah.
hours, which I'm very excited about, and I encourage everyone to make use of our wonderful library. There is a book club for everybody, or an activity for everybody. I also wanted to address something about the benefits of the Grove to the community post that was made. I strongly disagree with the village's posting that document of benefits of the Grove to the community on its Facebook page and website yesterday. I'm not saying I agree with or disagree with the content, but with the posting of a one-sided document by the village. The village must be a neutral source of information so the citizens can make up their own minds. Every development has benefits and concerns, pros and cons. Only giving the benefits and none of the cons is, in my personal opinion, akin to disinformation when it comes from a source that is expected to be neutral. I did express my concerns about this with staff shortly after it was posted, but feel I still need to make this statement because I believe so strongly that the village must be neutral in its presentation of information to the public.
Anything further?
Nope. Okay.
Was that document taken down, or is it still on?
I believe it's still on.
It's still posted.
Trustee Bonnie.
Nothing to add.
Trustee Shomas.
Nothing from mine other than I owe a phone call to the director of the Park District. I'm highly delayed in catching up with him. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to touch upon a couple of things that have gone on since the last, and then I'll address the application that came in. But so Metro West Legislative Barbecue took place after our last board meeting. We heard from both sides of the aisle, both Democrats and Republicans that represent us through the state. So we had a nice update there for all the municipalities that were present. Trustee Bonnie was there as well. Also an opportunity to raise any issues that we have, always is the place for that we have issues with that the state can help facilitate or create policy on. I was going to address Public Works. They were out and spent the time last night coming in late after hours. Much appreciated. A lot of the community had down trees throughout the area, a lot of parkway trees. I believe if we haven't done so already, we are planning on working on chipping some of that stuff for the community in general. So if you have limbs, we'll put out a post that you can bring that. And I know I also talked to Brad today about LRS. and the ability for LRS to do additional bundle pickup for folks that have down tree limbs, as well as the road cleanup. So there's a lot of mess in the road from leaves and that sort of thing. They're gonna do some street sweeping as well. I was at the library reopening on Friday. It was a wonderful celebration for them in their milestone of having some funding and some more opportunity here within the library. So that was nice. Had a meeting with the Fire Protection District and Chief Moran and Deputy Weaver, which leads me into a discussion, and I'm planting a seed with the board this evening. We are hearing a lot about TIF districts in the village and adding of more TIF districts. We have 2 TIF districts in our current municipality that are not necessarily spurring the development that we would all hope that they would spur. Partly in some of it has to do with the fact that TIF 1 in particular does not have the sanitary sewer capability that we once thought it would, or the cost associated with extending sanitary sewer there eats capacity in our system for other more valuable property potentially to come online. With that being said, I agree with a statement that was made at the JRB meeting, and which was we have too many acres of TIF districts. I agree with that. I think that we are at a place where there is valuable EAV within TIF 1. I think that we should, there are a few projects within TIF 1 that I know that this board is aware of that we need to solidify, but I think the timing is probably right to terminate that TIF district. Keeping in mind that we have, I can think of 2 projects that that need to be taken care of with TIF funds and TIF financing. So that is a goal. I'm hoping that we can terminate it in the next 12 months. I want to plant that seed with you. Feel free to ask staff questions about it. So that was the first one. So we hear the Fire Protection District, we hear the other taxing bodies. It's not just the fire, it's everybody that has dollars tied up in that TIF if it's not spurring new development. The second issue is that the Fire Protection District does have needs within the existing TIF 2, especially the amount of calls that they have over to the Senior Living Center. And one of the things that came out of our meeting, myself, Chief Moran, and Deputy Weaver, as well as Matt and Scott, was they have a need for an ambulance, another ambulance. And that, based on the calls of service that they have to a building located in a TIF district, it is deemed appropriate. More information will be provided to you. We will bring this back for further discussion. But they do have a need for an ambulance, and we feel it's appropriate to help them pay for that through TIF assistance. So that's another project out of a different TIF district, out of TIF 2. So we want to bring that back to the village board. As far as the project that is, everybody's been long awaiting, the documents regarding Crown Community Development. The documents are here. You are to do exactly what we would hope all will do, is read the documents, find the areas that you believe are inappropriate, and bring them to the village board. Bring it to everybody's attention. That's what we're all doing. That is a application by a developer. It is not a done deal because it is an application. It is the opportunity to read through. There's lots of information in there. And I spoke to a resident this evening that had a question about where's the plan for what am I going to see? They wanted to see, what the depictions of buildings or something would look like. That's in the language. So if we need, and I know there's many times I personally need more visual documents, they need to provide that if that's something that we want to see from them, if it's not in the packet. So when you look at areas within the document that talk about different zones, it talks about different permitted uses versus special use. It talks about setbacks. It talks about a lot of things. Read the document, pull out those things like Ms. Hummel has done this evening, and we can identify those and raise those as concerns. The board, maybe in some cases, there's been a discussion and there's an explanation as to something that we can go over as to why it's there or why it's in the document. It doesn't necessarily mean we agree with it. It means that they got to a place of application, and that's where we're at today. So I encourage everyone to do that. I don't know what the right answer is. I know sometimes when you go to public hearings, and they are just that. They're a place for you to state your concerns, and you don't feel, and I understand that, you don't feel like we're listening. We are listening. I think that there's not enough of the exchange back and forth. We've tried to do that at different times, and I think that there might be a time for a town hall, if it can be done in a way that did not happen at our last meeting. Because the way of this country is unfortunate to be able to disagree on policy, but to personally attack people is inappropriate. And so we want to put ourselves out there so you can ask us questions because we are decision makers. But when you personally attack folks and make accusations that are inaccurate, like we own property, that's inaccurate. That is a blatant lie. And you know it's a lie when I certainly say it's not true and you bring that up. That doesn't create the forum for open discussion. We want to talk about a project. You should always disagree or agree with things that are on paper, but fighting with someone personally isn't going to get anybody anywhere. So deal with the policy. We're seeing it nationally. Deal with the policy, not the people, okay? That's my only comment about all of that.
Can I, a quick point of order, a bit of a correction that I think as you were talking, you corrected yourself, but it sounded like in your discussions of the negotiations, or at least discussions that have been going on between the developer and staff, you said the board. We have not seen, there's been nothing presented to us on the details.
So thank you for
us to
that.
have
I
an
always refer to
opinion on.
myself as the board, so
Correct.
I apologize.
Okay, I just wanted to make that.
100%. And so even the comment that was made this evening as a point of reference, to make a public comment and say, I can't speak to this, but I heard that there's a certain board member that's going to say yes to all of it. I don't like that put out in the world because one, unless somebody has said that to the person that made that comment, that's your business. But when a public comment comes up and said, I don't know, this is hearsay, but I'm going to spew it anyway as if it's fact, that's the problem that we find ourselves in, okay? So you are right. I have had discussions with the developer. That is my job. I have had several conversations with our staff. And the document that was put out, that while Heidi, I appreciate your comments, and she doesn't like that document is put out as one-sided, it wasn't meant to be one-sided. So taking her information, I'm still commenting. Taking her information in and understanding how we can do better is really what we want to do. What that document was supposed to represent is a synopsis of the things that we have heard here to say what's in it for this community. And those items are pulled from the application. Those items that were listed were pulled from the application. That's what it was. It wasn't to say, this is going to be everything and then some. It's to highlight the items that were pulled. Do I believe that this project is going to be a benefit to our community? Yes. Are there certain hurdles that we have to get through? Yes. Are there some that we might not be able to get through? Yes. But that's for all of you to decide as you vote and you hear the information. Developing 760 acres in this community is not an easy feat. Clearly, this community has had notice. It's been over 2 years of talking to this developer because that property belongs in this village. This village has spent over $650,000 of taxpayer dollars as their portion of opening that interchange. It was done well before my time, and that was the mindset of the board at the time. It fed into the comprehensive land plan that they had at that time, and it still feeds into the comprehensive land plan. So what the village needs to do is to hear the application, raise all of your questions and concerns. If you can't get to a place that you agree, then it's done. But that is what we owe someone. As a village that is here for the sole responsibility for all the taxing bodies to do economic development, our job is to hear it, okay? So you can't say no and you can't say yes before you have documents. Those documents that we've asked all of you to look at, they are here. We are available. Ask your questions about those documents because there's likely things in there that this board will not agree to. So raise those concerns. There's nothing that is set in stone and done. But it is a great starting point is what I will tell you. The fact that a developer has come back to want to be in this village, that is a big deal. We haven't had one master plan development in over 20 years. That is not sustainable. Anyone who thinks that you can cut government spending and cut your way out of something, you can't. Doesn't mean you have to keep trying to achieve every goal under the sun, but you need more revenue because government costs go up. We all know it. Pension costs go up, employee costs go up. We have to maintain our services to a certain level. Our roads have to be a certain way, our sidewalks, our people. And the only way that's gonna happen is through additional revenue sources. So we have to look at development. That is our job. That's all I want to say under President's report. So, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a
We make
second?
a request to pull off that document. I would be in agreement with Trustee Lindy that that document should not be online at this point in time. Nobody's from the board's had a chance to make any opinions, let alone review that stuff, and I think it is one-sided and biased at this point in time.
Are we taking a vote on it?
Well, I quite frankly heard a lot of people ask what's the benefit of it? You know, at the last meeting.
Trustees could send out the information, but I don't think it should be on the village's website. If people ask it,
I think that what can be altered, and I would ask the board whether you agree or not, is that you don't want that to be a position of the board. The board's job is not to run the day-to-day village. That is Scott's job and his staff. So if that is Scott putting that together and he wants to put his name at the bottom because he's drafted that document with our marketing company, then he can do that. I don't know if he wants to do that, but he can do that. I can understand why you don't want it to be looking like it's coming from the board's position.
I would argue that with even Scott's name on it, it still represents the board. He's the village administrator, represents this board in a lot of different ways, and by him putting that document online, he's representing the board and the position that the board is taking, supporting the.
Are we having a discussion on this topic that
Sounds
should
like-
have been added to the agenda?
No, you can bring it up under President's report. Heidi brought it up under trustee report.
All right. I think it was a little premature to put it up. That being said, we've hired people like Scott to express an opinion, and if it's his letter arguing why he thinks it's necessary, I think that's under his title as the head administrator for the village. It's under his authority to do that, and I don't think it would, maybe it was, I think maybe it should just come down.
And that's fine, if the board wants to take it down, I'm fine with that. I just want to add, I want to add this to you, and then let Scott make one comment about it if you'd like to, but the point of the village, and not only in its authority to create economic development, if they had not applied, okay, once they've made application and gone through the last 2 years of work with staff, that is saying we're at a place where we think you are worthy of applying. That's what that also is. It's not saying, and quite honestly, I want to look at the document again to see what items are discrepancies. And I get what you're saying, Heidi, that you're not hearing the cons. This was really coming from a place of what's in it for the village.
My complaint, like I said before, is not to debate whether I agree with or disagree with the comment, with the statements in there. My statement is the village should be a place of neutrality when it comes to developments, and this is not a neutral document.
Before we've seen it and it's been voted on. Right?
This is a document that clearly in its title makes it not neutral. The title is Benefits of the Grove to the Community.
If I could, so the genesis of this was, and this is over a month ago, started working on this, asking staff for input, and having some brief meetings about it and pulling together information. Time and again, I've heard both during public comment, when I've spoke with residents, and emails that I've received, are what are the benefits to me as a resident of Sugar Grove to this development happening? I tried to distill down over what's likely, I think if you added all the documents that are posted on our website together, to be about 1,000 pages. I thought it was unlikely and unreasonable for everyone to read all of those to draw conclusions for themselves. So I was trying to write it from the perspective of, I am someone who lives in the community. I want to know why they would consider doing this. It wasn't meant to say that it should be done. It wasn't meant to represent anything from the village board or that a decision has been made. but it was, the mindset was, why would you go through and do this big project if you are a village? So we wanted to put in benefits that are in there. Some of them say may, some of them are directly pulled from a study. Some are facts as what's exactly in an annexation agreement. This is what the amount of money is that is in for impact. And that was all that we were trying to do. Good, bad, or indifferent, it'll pass because of the vote of this board, and that is completely up to you. I am merely trying to address questions and concerns that I had that I didn't feel like I could. There's not a one-word answer for why should the village do this. It needed to be long. I tried to keep it at 2 pages, which was difficult. But that was the intent of the document. If you feel that it shouldn't be posted, if you feel that I should change it to say from the administrator's desk, I have no problem with either one. I work for you, so whatever guidance you want to give me, but that was the intent of the post, was merely to answer a question that's been posed to me that I don't feel like I can just say, 14 is why we should do this. It's a long, thought out answer that requires a lot of input from a lot of people.
I think we should pull it.
I just, real quick, before, I took it more, when I read it online, I got it when everybody else got it online, so I read it, and I read it as almost like there's so much misinformation out there that this is more of the correct information, or the information we have as a village at the current time. So I took it as, yes, maybe the title is probably incorrect, or if the title probably should have been changed to something else, but I think the actual substance of it was, the way I read it, the way I took it, was more of the, hey, these are the facts that are coming out that you found throughout the documents, and you placed facts on a sheet to let the residents know of factual things that are occurring in this document. I didn't really take it as it was it was a pro-Crown or anti-Crown thing. So the title does lead to a little misconception, I suppose, but I don't know if I was the only one that took it as that or not, but that just wanted to voice my opinion, and when I read it, that's how I read it. Sorry, Jane. Thank you.
No offense taken. The reason I think we should probably pull it is because it does have an appearance of it coming from us. And really, it's the developer's case to make. We're going to have a public hearing for the Planning Commission. And they are the ones who have the burden of proving these things. While I may agree with them, I do think it's something that should come from the developer. And honestly, when I first opened it up and looked at it, I thought, oh, I appreciate that we have this. Because I didn't see anything in there that I thought was not true. But again, I think it is for the developer to make their case before the Planning Commission, and then for the TIF to make their case before us. So I think just for that's my position. So that's my.
Okay. That'll be cool. Thank you. Going with that motion?
I already did.
Don't vote.
No, I don't think that requires a vote. I think that.
No, I'm not talking about that. I looked back at him for the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'm going back to his original motion, I'm sorry.
I object to it.
I didn't want a motion. That's all I'll say.
I'm
The
sorry.
consensus is fine, I have direction.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item 14, adjournment, please.
Thank you. Who was the second? Did I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a first out of trustee White and a second out of trustee Michaels. Roll call, please.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie? Trustee Shomner?
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.